All right, we are constantly seeing science news everywhere, right? But have you ever really stopped to think about how that information actually gets to you? I mean, from a laboratory to your phone screen, it is definitely not a straight line. It's a huge, complex, interconnected web, and today we're going to try and map it out.
Seriously, just think about it for a second. That last big breakthrough in medicine you read about, or that cool new discovery about outer space, where did you first hear about it? For most of us, it probably started right here, a catchy headline that just popped up in our newsfeed, promising some kind of world-changing discovery. Or hey, maybe it was an explainer video on YouTube. You know the ones. Slick animations, a super clear narrator making a really complicated idea finally feel simple. It could have even been a post from a friend on social media, sharing a link and be like, whoa, you have to see this. But here's the thing. Behind all of those formats, the headline, the video, the social media post, the journey almost always begins in the exact same place. A formal, peer-reviewed, and, let's be honest, an often incredibly dense academic research article. And for a very long time, that was pretty much the end of the story. The research article was the final destination, and it was really only meant for a tiny, super specialized audience. Think of it like an island. It was stuck behind these massive paywalls, written in a technical language that felt like a secret code, and it was completely isolated from the public conversation. So just getting to the island was hard. And once you got there, understanding it was even harder. But that has all changed. Today, we need a whole new way of thinking to understand how scientific information moves around. We need to talk about the science web. So what happened? Well, two massive shifts, really. The first is just the raw power of the internet, and the second is this huge push for open science, which is this whole movement to make research accessible to absolutely everyone. Because of those two things, that lonely island isn't so lonely anymore. In fact, it's now the center of a massive, sprawling web of connected content. And this isn't just some cool metaphor I'm using. Communication researchers actually have a name for this thing, a digital genre network. It sounds super technical, I know, but it's really just a formal system where all these different formats, the original article, the blog posts, the video, the social shares, are all constantly linking to and interacting with one another. So how does this web get built? Well, the engine that drives it is a process called recontextualization. Now, it's a fancy word, but it's a really simple idea. You take the core findings from that original, dense paper, and you repackage them for different audiences on different platforms. This is that process in action. It's the journalist who reads the dense research and turns it into a news story you can actually understand. It's the YouTuber who takes a complex method and makes an engaging animation out of it. Each one of these steps is a recontextualization, and each one builds another strand in this incredible web. Okay, so if this is a web, how does it actually work? Well, it turns out researchers have identified 5 key principles that govern this whole digital genre network. Let's walk through them. First up, and this one is absolutely crucial, there is no single right way to enter or navigate this web. It's fundamentally nonlinear. There's no front door. You don't read this web like a book, from page 1 to the end. You explore it. You jump around. You might start with a tweet, click a link to a blog post, watch a video that's embedded there, and maybe, just maybe, you end up at the original research paper. You create your own path as you go. Second, the web is incredibly adaptable. It doesn't just sit there doing nothing. It changes and it expands based on new demands and new goals. And you can see this evolution so clearly. In the past, the main goal for a scientist was just to publish for their peers. That's it. But now, the open science movement has created a brand new demand. Engage the public. So, the web adapted. It created entirely new things like lay summaries and author videos just to meet that demand. Okay, rule number 3. The different formats inside the web don't just exist side by side. They actually influence each other. They co-evolve. Think about it. Research papers, which used to be just walls of text, now often have these cool graphical abstracts, which are basically infographics borrowed from the visual world. Science blogs have gotten a lot more formal and rigorous, and science videos on YouTube, they're getting way more serious about citing their sources, just like academic papers. They're all borrowing from each other. Fourth, this web self-organizes. This one's pretty wild.
Out of all these different interacting pieces, a larger, coherent picture just emerges. And there's no central planner telling it what to do. And finally, the web has collective dynamics. What that means is the total effect of exploring the web is way, way greater than the sum of its parts. The article, plus the video, plus the discussion thread on a blog, all of it combines to create a much deeper understanding than any single one of those pieces could on its own. So we have this complex, self-organizing web. But why does it matter? What's the ultimate goal of this entire system? Well, it all comes down to one word: participation. Researchers use this fantastic metaphor, the ladder of citizen participation. Okay, so picture a ladder. At the very bottom rung, you have informing. That's just one-way communication, like a news article. Climb up to the next rung, and you've got engaging. This is where two-way conversation happens, on social media or in forums. But the very top of the ladder is empowering, and that's where citizens can become true partners in the scientific process itself.
You know, understanding the science web isn't just some academic exercise. It fundamentally changes how we think about the entire relationship between science and society.
This new model helps us finally get past that old, broken deficit model, the idea that the public are just empty vessels that need to be filled with facts. Ugh. The science web does the complete opposite. By creating all these different entry points and pathways, it builds trust, it makes the scientific process way more transparent, and ultimately, it gives more people the tools to climb that ladder toward real empowerment. So the next time you see a headline or you watch a science video, remember this web that's lying just underneath it all. The question totally shifts from just what you learn to how you choose to learn it. You have the map now. The only question left is, how will you explore the web?